Imagine an automated system identifying, targeting, and simultaneously severing the digital lifelines of millions of citizens across an entire nation, all without a single human investigation. In 2026, the Indian government executed exactly this kind of cyberstrike. This chart shows how that number was achieved through two massive data streams. A parliamentary report revealed that 1.39 crore mobile SIMs were disconnected to combat widespread financial fraud, 88 lakh by the Astra tool, and 50.9 lakh through the Chakshu portal. Astra operates as an AI-powered facial recognition solution. It ingests the telecom database using algorithmic matching to identify suspected fraudulent identities at a speed no human bureaucracy could match. Chakshu operates differently, relying on pattern analysis of 11.18 lakh citizen reports to flag suspicious numbers through crowdsourced data. While these numbers represent a significant victory for national cybersecurity, the success is built on algorithmic assumptions and statistical patterns rather than individual investigations. To understand the vulnerability of an automated state, we must look at a single error hidden within those 1.39 crore disconnections. Sunita Devi, a 58-year-old schoolteacher, represents the human cost of a statistical outlier. ASTR terminated Sunita's 15-year-old connection based on a 96% AI facial recognition match with a known fraudster. It was a false positive, a machine error that instantly stripped her of her digital identity. The consequences were immediate. Her banking OTPs stopped, her pension access vanished, and critical communication for her daughter's wedding was severed right when it was needed most. Sunita traveled 200 kilometers to meet Deputy Director Arjun Mehta. She arrived without legal representation or the technical literacy required to navigate the official online grievance portals. Mehta faces intense administrative pressure. Upper management demands high disconnection metrics to showcase success in Parliament, discouraging the time-consuming manual reviews Sunita requires. This technical glitch reveals a deep constitutional clash between state efficiency and natural justice, one that requires an engineered policy solution. Resolving this case requires mapping the conflicting interests of the stakeholders involved. Cyber fraud victims need high-speed systemic intervention to prevent financial loss, while innocent citizens like Sunita need absolute accuracy to protect their livelihoods. This scale represents the conflict between two competing moral philosophies. On one side is Jeremy Bentham's utilitarianism, which evaluates a policy by its collective outcome. Utilitarianism justifies the automated system as the greatest good for the greatest number, accepting a small percentage of errors as a viable cost for securing the nation's financial network. Immanuel Kant's deontology provides the counter-argument. It suggests that an individual possesses absolute dignity and cannot be treated as a mere means or acceptable collateral damage for the sake of system efficiency. This leads to the algorithmic accountability gap. When a machine makes the decision to terminate a service, the traditional line of human responsibility in the bureaucracy is severed. Legally, the system violates audi alterum partem, the right to be heard. The AI enacts punitive measures instantly, offering no due process before the connection is cut. The integration of AI has broken traditional accountability, forcing the civil servant to reconcile constitutional law with the velocity of algorithmic governance. Mehta must now evaluate his options, knowing that passive adherence to a flawed system is a choice in itself. This timeline shows the 21-day manual review process under Option A. While it maintains procedural uniformity, it forces a citizen to endure 3 weeks of digital exile. For an innocent citizen, this delay inflicts disproportionate and irreversible harm, making procedural consistency a source of injustice. Option B involves immediate restoration based on compassion. While this helps Sunita, it creates structural cracks in the department's security protocols and sets an exploitable precedent. Bypassing the system entirely compromises the integrity of the security mandate and leaves the network vulnerable to actual fraudsters claiming false positive status. Option C is an engineered middle path. It avoids the binary choice between speed and justice by creating a parallel track for urgent relief. Mehta can establish a 48-hour emergency verification window. By reviewing prima facie evidence like ODR and a 15-year connection history, he can restore access temporarily while the formal 21-day investigation continues. An ethical bureaucrat does not simply pick the best available option. They engineer a process that satisfies both systemic integrity and individual relief. The decision to prioritize a temporary bridge over a rigid 21-day lock reflects the ethical complexity of modern governance. This approach draws on Aristotle's concept of practical wisdom, or phronesis. Phronesis demands that ethical governance always adapts to specific human circumstances, rather than mechanically executing rigid, unforgiving rules. We can further test this bridge using John Rawls' veil of ignorance. Imagine designing a policy without knowing if you will end up as a victim of cyber fraud or as an innocent citizen wrongly flagged by an algorithm. A rational policymaker under this veil would inherently design a system that includes an immediate, dignified emergency relief mechanism for the wrongly accused. The 48-hour emergency window represents the exact structural outcome demanded by foundational ethical theory. Scaling Sunita Devi's restoration into a national standard requires converting these individual interventions into long-term institutional reforms. The first step is implementing a human-in-the-loop protocol. This requires a manual human verification icon to unlock any final punitive action flagged by an algorithm. This protocol mitigates the accountability gap by reinserting human agency before the state takes irreversible action. Second, the state should establish digital Sahayak kiosks at every district headquarters. These kiosks address the digital divide, ensuring citizens without technical literacy have physical access to the grievance redressal system. Finally, bureaucratic performance metrics must shift. Success reports to Parliament should include the speed at which false positives are corrected, not just the total number of disconnections. Algorithmic speed is an administrative inevitability, but true digital governance requires institutionalizing human oversight to ensure efficiency never overrides constitutional dignity.